Welcome to Let's Talk ASEAN, your go-to chill space where Southeast Asia's youth stories, thoughts, and vibes come to life. And this special podcast is brought to you by Majlis Belia Malaysia, or you might know them as the Malaysian Youth Council. And this is our effort to support the Malaysia's ASEAN Youth Chairmanship. Chairmanship in 2025. But we are putting a different twist with the youth POV. Well, massive love to our partners at the Ministry of Youth and Sports for making this podcast a reality. Well, let me tell you guys, Let's Talk ASEAN is all about the real talk, the stuff that matters to young people in Southeast Asia. From what's happening in our region to what we actually want to change. This is a podcast by the Malaysian youth for the ASEAN youth. Well, my name is Debbie, and I'm your podcast host for today. And you're tuning into a live podcast featuring some awesome guests who was just in the ASEAN Youth Interface session yesterday. Interesting, right? So they actually met the ASEAN leaders, and now they are here to spill all the tea. Well, let's give them a warm welcome to Mr. Izzat from Malaysian Youth Council.
Oh, thank you, Debbie. That from Malaysia Youth Council, of course. Thank you.
Right? All right. And then next we have Michelle Villanueva from Philippines.
Hi everyone, so I am Michelle Villanueva from the Philippines. Mabuhay!
Yeah. All right. And then we have our third guest, which is...
Hi everybody, this is Gear from Thailand. Swadika.
All right. So you guys have seen the faces of the youth leaders in ASEAN. So without further ado, let's dive in. So you three had the chance to actually meet the ASEAN leaders yesterday in the dialogue, right? And that's a huge deal. And I believe I am excited for you guys too. And you must be more excited than me. So first thing first, what did you actually talk about in that session? And maybe you could spill the tea for us. Maybe we can start with Izzat.
Spill the tea.
Spill the tea.
For the youth interface between the youth leaders and the youth leaders in the ASEAN youth, we had 1 hour session with the ASEAN leaders, which, for your information, we have 3 interface dialogue between the ASEAN leaders and the 3 groups, which is the IPA, the ASEAN Interparliamentary Association, the ASEAN Youth Leaders, and also ASEAN Business Council and Business Community. So the ASEAN Youth had the opportunity, about 1 hour in session, together with all the 10 youth ASEAN leaders, plus Timor-Leste as well. The Prime Minister, the President of Timor-Leste attended the meeting as well, President Zanana.
Oh.
And within 1 hour, we had the opportunity of reading out our statement. For information, we currently in the ASEAN Youth Dialogue for about 5 to 6 days. And within the dialogue, we somehow managed to draft it and also to come up with a statement, the ASEAN Youth Statement. And during in that meeting, the ASEAN interface, we read out that particular statement. What are the needs and the demands and the recommendations from the ASEAN youth towards the ASEAN member states, especially to the ASEAN leaders. So I had the opportunity of representing Malaysia together with Michelle as the next chair of ASEAN, reading out the statement in front of the 10 ASEAN leaders plus Timor-Leste. And we read out all the demands from the ASEAN youth, especially from the 85 youth delegates from the ASEAN Youth Dialogue. So basically, that's it, which is we managed to spell out somehow to read out all the demands and recommendations from the ASEAN youth to the ASEAN leaders. And right after that, the ASEAN leaders somehow gave their opinion and their intervention regarding that particular statements.
I see. Thank you so much, Izzat, for that insight. I feel like that's more formal parts of what is actually going on yesterday during the ASEAN interface dialogue. And it's interesting also how you mentioned about the ASEAN Youth Statement that you have also mentioned to the ASEAN leaders, and I think that's very important focal point to highlight, and you don't really get these moments all the time to talk face to face to the leaders. So let's get more deeper, or I would say more spicy. So we'll move to the next question to Michelle from the Philippines. So you guys have told your aspirations, your statements, what you hope for youth. Okay. Um, Maybe you have a specific leader that left a big impression in their reply towards your hope. So, which leader left the biggest impression on you and why?
All right. So honestly, it's hard to point at one leader that stand out that moment, but what for me stand out that day is the collective support of all state members, leaders,
Mm.
ASEAN leaders, because upon saying or reading our youth statement, we had the remarks from the different leaders, and it was so awesome. And we are just so grateful that having the remarks, it feels like they are affirming that yeah, we are seeing you, we are uh we know, and we really understand that these are the needs of the young people in the ASEAN. The reason why I will not mention anyone, but yeah, what stood out that moment is the collective support of each and every leader on that day. Thank you.
That's a very diplomatic question.
Answer,
Answer.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
The
guess.
most safe answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's not play
Actually.
safe. This is the podcast for youth, I believe, right? But I also get that point where you said like it's also important to always like move as a group, as we are one ASEAN region, right? So I really get you. I just really get you
Yeah.
where you said like you are also like very touched by the joint statement by them. They are also, collectively looking at the hope that you have shared. And thank you so much, Michelle, for the wonderful diplomatic answer, but also genuine one. Genuine
Yep.
one. Okay, guys? All right. So we'll move on to our next speaker. Okay.
Sorry.
So, yeah, from Thailand, right? So,
Yep.
okay. So, how did it actually feel to be in that room, with those ASEAN big names, ASEAN leaders? Were you nervous or you were like hyped? I would be hyped. So, like, what was actually running through your minds during the session? Yeah.
Surely, I feel like it's more mixed feelings.
Oh.
At the same time, we're nervous, and at the same time, we feel the excitement, right? Because it's a chance that we long for, like talking in front of the ASEAN leaders, shared our perspective on youth development. So yeah, back then I was feeling like, what do I have to speak out? Like I've been gathering it for several days, Roman, thinking of this. So yeah, back to the state. I feel like we achieved something. We have achieved some things, and feel the honors to represent like more than 200 million population of the youth in our regions.
Correct.
Like we collectively worked together for several days, and at last we got like one statement. And aside from the official statement, we also have a chance to kind of personally talk to all prime ministers.
Like a meet and greet?
Yeah, like a meet and greet kind
Oh.
of. So we saw her actual reactions on and her actual commitment toward our ASEAN's youth statement. So yeah, feel so excited and grateful for that. We have achieved something.
Oh, that sounds so nice. I feel like mixed feelings is always gonna be there when you are both excited and you are excited looking at the leaders, and at the
Yeah.
same time like you're scared, like I'm representing the youth,
Yep.
all the youth in my country, and I'm here today to discuss on behalf of all of them. So yeah, I totally get it. And also like when you said like you feel touched when they personally come down to you and speak with you as a youth leader, right? So yeah, that was a very fun POV. I would totally relate to that. Yep. So, okay, I want to ask this question to all of you. Okay, it's a very simple
Right.
question. So, like, I understand that all of you come from different ASEAN countries, Malaysia, Thailand, and we have the Philippines. So, and also you come from different walks of life, maybe different professions and etc. So, what was the most valuable takeaway for you during the interface? What was the key takeaway that you take with you back home and you thought about it maybe before you were sleeping, and how did it actually change the way you see each other in the ASEAN region? Yeah, maybe anyone who would like to volunteer?
Can start from Thailand.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
sure. So I think for me, the key takeaway is maybe not just the academic things,
Mm.
but it's more about the energy of the youth that gathered together. So
Ooh.
I truly feel that everybody's want to improve all collective like quality of life of the youth in all regions.
Mhm.
Everybody like put their energy so much. Like there's a lot of people who raise their hand to lead, to start off or initiate this thing.
Mm.
So this energy would be pointed on my heart forever after the ASEAN Youth dialogue and ASEAN Youth interface with ASEAN's leaders. So I feel like this one is a huge takeaway for me. So yeah, I'm bringing this energy as well back to my
Mm.
home countries. And yeah, whenever I start anything, I will think of these feelings and start with that feelings.
I like how you turn the motivation, you get the energy from the
Yep.
whole feeling, the mixed feeling that you were describing just now, and then you turn it as a motivation. Every time you feel like maybe you were tired or giving up, giving back
Yep.
to your community, and you will feel that burning energy, right? Oh my God, that is a very good takeaway, Nongya, right? What about you, Michelle? What was the most valuable takeaway from the whole event?
Okay, so the most valuable key takeaway that I had yesterday was hearing, being able to be heard is really possible. It was really awesome, and it was really happening yesterday that we are heard. I mean, like, as a person who came from a very little community, far flung area, and then being here in the interface, it means like, wow, it is really possible that our state leaders can hear our voices to know what we really need, what the young people really need. So this interface is really, really a great platform so that the gap between the people and the policy meet, because we, the people, say what we need, what we demand, what we are requesting. And then, because these people, the ASEAN leaders, are in the highest position of
Correct.
doing and also deciding for the policy of each country and even ASEAN as a region. So, yeah, having the voice is really great. Yeah, thank you.
Wow. Yeah. Coming back to your point again, I think that is the most interesting part again, right? Coming back to how you were saying, like, you feel heard. You are also seen directly by the uh, ASEAN leaders in the region. And maybe sometimes I would say when you were meeting them, you would think of like, oh, I can't even meet my leader back in my country. But now I am representing all of the youth leaders and meeting them face to face. I feel very honored to be listened by them, bring the voice of the youths in their country,
Definitely.
right? Right. I totally get you. I mean, like, I would think about it all night too. I'm like, oh my God, actually, my leader listened to me and give the opinion on my opinion and all of the youth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's amazing, right? All right. So, what about you, Izzat?
It actually echoed what Michelle have said earlier, that the right to be heard, the chance to be heard, and second, the realization that we are the future of ASEAN. Of course, in front of the 10 ASEAN leaders, and each and every leader said that we are the future of ASEAN. So we are going to hand over this particular region to you. So in the next 10 years, 20 years, who knows, Michelle will be the first president of the Philippines for the woman president, or maybe who knows, Gia, what's the name?
Yeah,
Yeah,
gear.
gear.
Just gear in the car.
Will the next prime minister of Thailand? Who knows? In the next 20 years or 30 years, and the realization that we have the opportunity and the duty to protect this particular region and somehow to make it better in the next 10 or 20 years. That's why when we come up with a statement about 10 recommendations from each and every ASEAN leaders, ASEAN youth leaders, these particular 9 recommendations shows that this is what we need and this is what we want from the ASEAN for the next 10 to 20 years. So the chance to be heard and also the realization that we are the future of ASEAN. So what we do today is going to impact in the next 10 or 20 years for this particular region.
I see. Did you feel that the heaviness, the burden of the responsibility that you are going to
Yeah, of
be
course,
yeah.
because I've said earlier that each and every ASEAN leaders, when they have the opportunity to speak, they said that you are the future of ASEAN.
Mm.
So we are going to hand over this particular region to you in the next 20 or 30 years. So be prepared.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did that scare you as like when you count like 20 years from now, you might not be a youth anymore, right?
It's quite a mixed feeling.
Makes sense.
You have the opportunity, the duty, and also, yeah, what do you plan for next 20 years or 30 years to this particular region?
Interesting POV from Izzat. And
Because I'm the oldest around all of you.
oh, let's not talk about age. Everyone is youth here. Well, amazing answers from everyone. Thank you so much. We will have a short break and we'll come back very soon and see you guys at Let's Talk ASEAN Podcast.
10 years ago, ASEAN Community Vision 2025 was conceived in Kuala
Okay.
Lumpur, an ambitious blueprint to
Okay.
guide the
It's really
region's
cool,
common
isn't it?
course through the decade ahead. Since then, under the quiet resolve of this guiding vision, ASEAN has pressed forward, marking steady strides in nurturing peace, entrenching stability, and advancing the promise of collective prosperity. Today, ASEAN has grown even stronger, connected, and resilient, united by shared goals and purpose. We stand as the fulcrum of the regional architecture and an influential force in driving positive change. We have become a formidable and dynamic economic powerhouse, poised to become the world's fourth largest economy. Our peoples have flourished in the calm embrace of a peaceful region, uplifted by the currents of a thriving economy and the quiet stitching of greater connectivity. They remain at the very heart of ASEAN's journey towards deeper integration. After a decade of a remarkable journey, ASEAN is now in a position of strength, able to embrace the future with confidence and vigor. The evolving global environment will require ASEAN to be bold and transformative in its outlook. Together, ASEAN must navigate an era marked by rapid change and mounting strategic challenges with unity and purpose. Together, ASEAN must continue to recalibrate its priorities and agenda to remain dynamic and responsive, mindful of the impacts and opportunities of existing and future mega trends. This year, another defining chapter of ASEAN's journey is being written in Kuala Lumpur with the adoption of ASEAN 2045, our shared future. ASEAN Vision 2045 will chart a bolder, inclusive, and forward-looking agenda of the region for the next 20 years. It is a visionary roadmap that would guide ASEAN in ensuring regional peace, stability, and prosperity of the region and beyond. It is driven by ASEAN's conviction that no one should be left behind as we keep the future firmly in sight.
Our future is what we envision and construct it to be. Together, ASEAN will embrace the future with renewed determination and resolve. This is the time to demonstrate the strength of our unity and our shared vision of progress, prosperity, and justice.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to Let's Talk ASEAN Podcast. So, we will go back where we actually ended. I hope you guys are still, here with me. I'm not alone, right? All right. So, okay, we have talked about like what was actually going on in the interview session and what you guys do and what was the response of the leaders to your joint statement, right? So, let's be honest here. Like, did meeting the leaders actually shift your perception of ASEAN in general, or maybe it just made you feel more connected to it? Anyone can answer this question. Anyone? Michelle, you look like you want to answer. Do you want to answer?
About the change in perspective.
Yeah.
Maybe before this ASEAN event, personally attending the ASEAN event, it feels like once again like being from a little community. It means so far. I mean, like, is it really possible that that me as a simple youth can be part of this dialogue like that way? But yeah, to first shift my perspective that uh, meeting the ASEAN leaders to be heard is not so bureaucratic or not so far, but it's really possible. And the presence of our ASEAN state members yesterday is an affirmation or a commitment that they are interested to hear us, that they are there to support us, and to know uh, the perspective of the youth and the importance of the youth in their policy making decisions. So, yeah.
I see. Well, I certainly feel you. I also come from a very small community from Sabah in Malaysia. So I totally get you when you feel like you feel connected when you get to join the ASEAN interface dialogue. So I totally get you. I totally get you, Michelle. Yeah. So coming back, okay. So that question is gonna lead to the next question, which will be you guys as a youth leaders, right? So like, why do you really think this session is important for young people like us? And seriously, what actually should be done more so that youth voices don't just get heard and actually can impact and change policies? Anyone could answer this again. I'm opening the stage. Yeah?
Yeah, can.
Mm.
All right. So the reason why I think this session is very vital for youth in these centuries is because we kind of tend to have to be more inclusive, and surely is when any decision making process happens, they also have to include like the wider stakeholders such as youth as us. As I mentioned before, it's like 1/3 of populations of ASEAN countries is the youth already, and we face different problems that might be, like the grown up may not really understand that well, because I know they once be youth, but they never face the same thing as us, like AI disruptions, anything like that. So this is a vital chance for us to make some change and, like put a kind of beneficial input into the policy making process, make our voices as others says. And yeah, that's a great chance for us. And so to think about what's next to be done to
Yeah.
make it like far better than now, or could be improved or could develop more. I feel like we should and we can do some kind of follow-up process. It's like we feel like we propose so many things, like 9 point of statement that we propose. So we should have some mechanism that could follow up our proposals, so that we can really ensure that all statement that we just been heard got to be into the real actions and the real
Yes.
impact. So yeah, I would say so.
I see. I totally agree you on that statement. I would say NATO, no, must be action, but talk and also action, right? But we don't want anything like no action, talk only, right?
Yeah.
So it's very important. It's very important to like when you guys have already like shared like your youth statement and everything. But genuinely in any situation, we always want a feedback, a very fast feedback. I mean, like maybe we could we could not force immediate action, right?
Yeah.
So what we could like you said, Nongya, you said like at least a feedback, or I would say a follow-up would be really nice, that could be done by the leaders on your statement that you have shared yesterday, right? Yeah, I think that's pretty valid. Yeah.
Like actually there's something that have been done before, but they never like published to us, so we don't really like connected with that. So if they have any channel for us to follow the things that we have been doing, so that would be great.
Yeah, okay. You heard that? Proper channels. Okay. So, okay, we'll move on to the next question. So,
All right. Can I add something?
Of
For
course, please,
Alright.
please.
Yeah, I just want to share also the importance of that session since we've been here starting 22 and we'll be sharing about the issues of our countries, of our youth and our communities. And the importance of this session is that also we are seeing the problems in the social media, we are seeing the problems of the youth in the news, but the importance of this session is that we formally write it into policy recommendation because that is important, that the written thing is important so that it will be like formally endorsed to our leaders. So I think that is the vital thing about the interface, that we formally submit to our ASEAN leaders the policy recommendation, the what we want, what we urge, what we respectfully and strongly request, all of those things. Thank you.
Right, good point, Michelle. I feel like you also just somewhat kind of give a response to what Nongye was saying just now, where Nongye said like, okay, we need a proper channel, and yesterday you were given one of the channels, which is to submit the youth statements, the issues happening in your region, in your countries, directly to the leaders of ASEAN, right? So you must feel very, very satisfied to do that and representing your people and the whole ASEAN region, right? Thank you so much for that POV, Michelle. I truly, yeah, I agree with that. So we'll move on to the next question. So as ASEAN youth leaders, right, you are representing your country. How do you actually view ASEAN, and why does ASEAN even matter to the youth? And why should we even care? I think Izzat can answer this because yesterday he gave a statement on news about this. So, uh, so let's have Izzat to answer this question. I want to hear his POV on this. Yeah, Izzat?
Well, when we talk about ASEAN, people usually say somehow have the point of view that ASEAN is only an international, regional organization instead of an identity for this particular region. ASEAN people tend to say that ASEAN is an international organization, regional organization that has nothing to do with the youth, with the grassroots levels, with the community, but instead actually whatever happened in the meeting, in the ASEAN meeting, affects all of us. So, but that's a problem, which people might tend to say or tend to think that ASEAN is only a government-to-government organization instead of a community-based or somehow a grassroots level organization or an identity. Because we don't really think or somehow says that ASEAN is our identity, unlike our European counterpart, European partners, which most of them they are proud to say that they are European. And although, yeah, of course, but when we talk to any of us, maybe some of us, they don't even think that they are ASEAN. They don't proud to be ASEAN as well. So that's the shift or somehow the mentality that we need to change within our ASEAN youth, because believe it or not, that ASEAN is the fourth largest economic in terms of economy. So we have the potential. We have about 30% of our ASEAN community and the population are youth, and we can be considered as the second most successful international organization or regional organization. And but I think we have the potential, especially our young people, our youth in ASEAN, to manage and to be one of the best in terms of work and so on. So, but yes, there are things that we need to change in terms of how we view ASEAN. Instead, it is not only organization, international organization, but instead it is identity, our identity, and that need to be changed. Yep.
I see. So you stress that ASEAN should actually feel connected
Yep.
to the ASEAN identity, right? I think, yeah, I totally agree with that. But what do you think about the current awareness level, or how do maybe youth in Malaysia
For
be
our
connected?
youth, we might heard about ASEAN, but
Mm.
we don't know what is ASEAN is all about.
I see. Yeah.
Uh, what is the ASEAN way and what is the ASEAN identity, for example. Because one of the things that quite a challenge for ASEAN is the cultural or the diverse cultural the diverse diversity in ASEAN, which we have more than 400 ethnicities in ASEAN,
Yeah.
which is one of the most diverse in terms of culture, and we have more than 20 or 30 languages. I think more than 150 languages throughout ASEAN. So we have the diversity of that particular culture. And for example, there are three main religions in this world that currently lives in ASEAN. The Buddhists, the Hindus, the Buddhist, Hindu, Islam, Christianity. Then we live together side by side,
Yes.
which is quite an amazing thing to do, especially in this particular world. We have the most diverse culture, but instead we can live together side by side. But yeah, there are things that we need to change. We need to promote that the ASEAN is an identity for this particular region. That the ASEAN is a way of life. It's a way we should proud to be said to be called as ASEAN people.
Yeah, I totally agree when you said that ASEAN is indeed a very unique region where we have so many cultures. At the same time, we are living together, bonding together over ASEAN identity and etc. Since you mentioned specifically about culture, so okay, actually I have a question. Yesterday when I it's not a burning question. Don't take it seriously. Maybe you could just answer from your heart. Yesterday, when you mentioned about culture, right? It just came out to my mind where you said like in a news or TikTok. I think I saw in TikTok.
The
Where
Wadidao.
yeah, Wadidao culture, exactly. So maybe it went viral actually, and I actually saw the comments. Some of them were wild. So maybe you could,
Probably the interview about 40 minutes to 45 minutes.
yeah, but then
About that
they
particular,
shortened it.
they shortened it, and that particular part of Wadidao became viral.
Yeah. So can you elaborate? Like, what was like what were you trying to highlight actually in the Wadidao interview that went viral yesterday?
Well, for your information, there's a culture in Indonesia. We call it Wadidao. Means that in that particular live streaming, so if you want that particular individual to do something, then you need to pay or something, or you need to give some online sort of rewards or gifts. Then they will dance and so on. So and it became quite a culture in Indonesia. And last 2 or 3 days ago, there's an article in the news in Malaysia that that particular culture is right now is entering Malaysia, and somehow some of Malaysians also plan to do that particular wadidao and so on. Then that particular uh, interview, they asked me what happened, what is actually happening in Malaysia about that particular wadidao.
Oh.
So for me personally, I would say that it is not a healthy culture, which there are many things to do online. You can do some online business instead of doing some dance to get money. So that is something that I think is not a good and healthy culture to be imported and to be exported from Malaysia.
Interesting point of view. I think that provided a good, clear, I would say, opinion from you, because like I think a lot of people misinterpreted what you said yesterday, and some of them thought you were Indonesian because you were talking about Wadida culture. Because as you said, Wadida culture is big in Indonesia, right? So some of them told that you were maybe Indonesian for making that statement and everything. And some of them also like say like no, we actually earn money, and it's a good opportunity for us to like explore the social media and everything in this way. So yeah, it's kind of funny to me, to read all of that, and also maybe I
I
just want
didn't
to.
even bother to look at the
You
comments.
didn't even bother. Yeah, it was yeah, it's a youth perspective. That's how I see it. But thank you so much for the clarification. I totally get it now, and I would say I agree with you lah. Yeah, I think maybe it's something that could be explored, but maybe in moderate like in the right way. Use social media in the right way, right?
Mm.
Yep. All right. So okay, I think I have a last question. This is for all of you, okay? So you guys can, answer. And I really want to know because it's a very important question. So, okay. So I want you to tell me, how does the ASEAN 2045 declaration yesterday, which was signed by all the ASEAN leaders, right, shift your perspective or fuel your hopes and dreams for youth 20 years from now? Because 20 years from now, you're not youth anymore, right? I would say. So, like, no offense, we are always young at heart. That is what most important. So, how does the declaration shift your perspective, and how does it, maybe fuel your hopes? What kind of future are you envisioning for ASEAN, and how, as youth, we can start building it from now on? Maybe we can start with Nongya.
Can.
Can.
So for me, it's like I also studied about the ASEAN Vision 2025. So comparing with these statements like ASEAN Vision 2045, 20 years now from this, I feel like we are committed to be more comprehensive, right, inclusive, and more sustainable. I imagine the life now from now on, like under the chairmanship this years of the Malaysians and 20 years plan of this. I feel like everything will be much easier for us, more connectivities, we can share a lot of things together, and yeah, more initiative would come and more support would come into our regions and also from within and from without. So yeah, I feel it might be easier for us to connect and engage with ASEAN's agendas, and also the maybe some kind of challenge that we could address together, more together.
I see.
Yeah, so I feel like this pinpoints a vital, it's like a historical moment for us to witness
Yes.
those
Yeah.
signing declarations, and like the statement inside also give us a big hope for the more connectivities. It's like this and more beyond this. Yeah.
So I take it that you are seeing it, viewing the declaration yesterday was like a historical start
Yep.
for more ASEAN events
Exactly.
for youths and everything, right? So you feel very, very motivated that you
Yeah.
think that there's more things going to happen because
Yeah.
you guys, the youth leaders, have the chance to, talk directly, right? You feel motivated.
Yeah.
I see. So what about you, Michelle?
All right. So about that, I am so hopeful to the aspiration, relevant also to the our youth statement. We are hopeful to the actualization and the realization of what we have requested to them. Since the 20 years after now will be more digitalized, it will be more modernized. So we are expecting that the things that as we go to more modernized world, it will be more sustainable, more inclusive, and as well as the voices of the youth is still heard. Also, we are hopeful that our ASEAN leaders will keep on hearing us, and since that this is the last question, maybe I also want to share that at the current moment, I am a living testimony of ASEAN inclusivity. So why? Because as you notice, I have a disability, visual disability particularly. But I am here. I am here. I am heard, and I am part of the conversation. So in the next 20 years later, I am hopeful that the ASEAN community will be more inclusive and continuously to be inclusive as this. Thank you so much.
Right. Oh my God. Strong statement. Oh my God. Let me. I really, really love that statement. I think it's very important that you also highlighted I would say the opportunities given to people with disabilities, right? And that's very important. And I think as you said, right, we are moving towards like inclusive environment. It aligns with our ASEAN chairmanship this year, which is inclusive and sustainability, right? When you were saying earlier. So like I love it how you highlight that you are a living proof, right? And that's very important, guys. This should be an inspiration for you to stand up for your community of youth. So next we will move to maybe Izzat. What do you think from 20 years from now? You feel like you will be like maybe older, right? Obviously older lah, right? So how do you think the declaration yesterday would actually fuel your hopes in the future?
Well, people usually sees that ASEAN will always come up with the statements. We had the ASEAN community 10 years ago, which some says that it is not, it is nothing. And right now, yesterday, we come up with a new statement or with a new direction from ASEAN for the next 20 years. And some still skeptics that it is going to be a roadmap from ASEAN. Well, for us as a youth leader, as a young leader, young people in ASEAN, the challenges that we are going to face in the next 20 years is not the same as the challenges that we are facing right now.
Right.
In the next 20 years, the most, I think, the most issues that might still we're going to face is about the climate change, for example. If we look at the report from the World Economic Forum, for example, the next 5 years or 10 years, the most pressing issue for this world is not about politics, but instead of the climate change, the environmental issues, and so on and so forth. So the issue that we are going to face in the next 20 years is far complex than what we are going to face today. And somehow with that particular statement, with the ASEAN Shared Future 2045, I believe that we at least have a roadmap. We have a blueprint for the next 20 years. What kind of ASEAN that we wish to be. But somehow, there are still challenges, issues that we need to face to make sure this particular blueprint and roadmap to be realized. And that's why our youth leaders, our young people of ASEAN need to be the one who actually pioneer and lead the way for this particular roadmap or future.
I see. Yeah, very interesting point when you said that, in 20 years, you cannot predict what kind of challenges. It could be way different than what we are facing today, what we are trying to tackle today. Very important. Great answer, Izzat, as the president of Malaysian Youth Council. I feel like it's very important when you said that we can always, just do what is in front of us now. But later, we can only predict and maybe mitigate a little. But at the end of the day, we are all human beings. We are trying our best. And we are doing it for the ASEAN community. One vision, one identity, guys. So, and that's a wrap for this special Let's Talk ASEAN podcast, live edition during the ASEAN Summit Week in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. And huge thanks to Izzat, Michelle, and Gear, repping Malaysia, the Philippines, and Thailand for keeping it real and giving us the inside scoop on what went down actually in the interface. I don't think you can get this kind of insights anywhere else. So it's just exclusively on Majlis Belia Malaysia. So don't forget to catch out our next episode. We've got more convos, more guests, more vibes coming in your way. And hit that subscribe button, share this with your friends, and if you got something to say or ask in the next podcast, feel free to drop your thoughts or DM us on IG at Belia MBM. This podcast is also your space to ask questions where we can raise to our upcoming guests. So till next time, stay curious, stay bold, and keep talking ASEAN fam. Bye!
Bye.